it seemed like we were always adding cows ever since I was little. So he went from 400 to 600 to 800, and then in 1979, when I was 10, we built a new facility that was like 60 miles away in San Jacinto, California. And so then we finally got going, got traction, and my brother and I were thinking about building another dairy in Kansas. Most of our milk at that time a lot of it was going into Nebraska. It made more sense to, instead of hauling the milk, come up here and look at building a dairy. And so we split our partnership off, and in the fall of '99, I started building my first dairy in Shelby, Nebraska. We called that dairy Double Dutch. It was originally planned to build half of it and then turn around and build the other half when I was ready to expand. So I was set up to milk 2,000 cows and eventually 4,000 cows. So we finally started milking cows in the spring of 2000, and in the fall of 2005 we expanded that dairy to milk 4,400 cows, and then things started happening quicker. Started building the next dairy in the next county over, Butler County. We called it Butler County Dairy, and we started building that in spring of 2007. All of our cows at all locations are milked in parallel parlors. We have not gone back to carousels, although now they seem to have it figured out. Butler County milks a little over 6,000, and Double Dutch milks about 4,800. Why did I choose Nebraska? Like I said earlier, part of it is it was building the dairies where the milk was needed. Nebraska sits on the largest portion of the Ogallala Aquifer, and there's great water availability and great irrigation. No matter what year it is, dry year, droughts, Nebraska will keep producing crops. The farmers and us, we are able to come in, build a fairly large dairy without having to buy a lot of land or find a spot that you could buy that much land, and then work with these guys in order to supply you the feed, and then they have the land base for you to be able to have your nutrient management plan fit the requirements of the state. The support, that takes time. The trust takes time. Cold calls, knocking on doors, sitting down at a kitchen table with the farmer. And it's usually multi-generational. There's a father or a son that you're talking to. And so those relationships are big. They're huge. You can't dairy here without them.
My name's Greg Whitmore from Shelby, Nebraska. Farming the family farm here since 1983. Farm about 2,600 acres, mostly irrigated, mostly corn soybean rotation, corn silage. It's been 22 years already, or well, over 22 years ago that I heard there was a dairy coming to the area, and so I went over and introduced myself, and realizing that he was going to be a good source for manure. I've utilized all the manure I can around the area here, so he needed silage and a neat place to go with the manure, so that works in a great way to cycle nutrients, and wanted to get a cover crop on, keep the soil from eroding away, blowing, finding the added benefits of when you put the manure on, that it also helps hold the nutrients there available to the next crops. Some of these fields around here, we've raised silage on them nearly continuously for 18 years. 17, 18 of them have had cover crops on them, and we just come right back, and it just, yields are going up, and we're just improving overall quality and productivity on the soils. We haven't added hardly any commercial nitrogen to these farms. And then continuous corn. So that manure is adding more than just nutrients, it's adding microbial activity that helps break down some of the carbon out here from old crop residue and other things, and making other nutrients more available. So my advice to the community is like, how important are your schools? You know, dairies attract young families. They're going to have kids. You know, you're going to have more workers in the area, so you know, it helps support like your grocery store and things on Main Street. Yeah, whether it's keeping a young guy coming back to the farm, or a young gal even, so it started in livestock, because you know, it's only land gets to be held in pretty tight hands and everything. So.
I'm Chris Bosquet. I'm the Director of Livestock Development for AFAN, and I'm also the Acting Executive Director for the Nebraska State Dairy Association. We are a one-stop shop for producers, and it's really a very cost-effective value for the producers as well. We're free, and we're funded by the commodity organizations in Nebraska, and that's our goal, is to grow the livestock sector. The water is probably, which is becoming more and more stringent in the western side of the United States. We've got ag-friendly governmental regulations and supportive communities that know and understand agriculture and livestock production. We've got the feed, and we've got a really good feed source. We're the number one irrigated acres state in the country, so we have a really consistent feed supply. And so we claim that Nebraska is really the next dairy frontier, where we're going to have a lot of expansion and growth and development. Processors are going to have to locate in an area where dairy farming and livestock can prosper. With the capabilities that the state of Nebraska has, it really creates a symbiotic relationship between the processors and the producers. An amazing opportunity for the state of Nebraska and for communities across our state. We feel that the dairy industry can really play a key role in rural revitalization. The economic fingers and footprint that comes out of the dairy industry, but also because it provides a lot of jobs and a lot of resources back to the community. Your benefit of partnering with a dairy farmer, as opposed to just continuing on selling your grain in your local elevator, is, in today's market conditions, can be hundreds of dollars better than your current operation. And livestock growth and development is a great way to bring home that next generation back into your operation, and it's going to keep families in your local community.
Grow Nebraska animal agriculture. Grow Nebraska communities. To learn more about growing your community, contact the Alliance for the Future of Agriculture in Nebraska